We have the invocation. We would like to have a moment of silence at Dr. Trahan.
Please have a moment of silence for the following individuals who have recently passed away. Ms. Pearl U. Williams, a retired school custodian. Emmeline K. Abair, a retired school paraprofessional. Willie Mae W. Seals, a retired school teacher. Hilda S. Odemont, a retired school custodian. And Celeste Dugan, retired instructional specialist in the federal department. Thank you.
Lord, support each of us in this meeting. We ask you divine help in the difficult task of representing the wishes of others. The issues will be addressed tonight are many, and the solutions may not always be easy. Dear God, please help us as we serve the school system as elected officials, and be with us tonight and forevermore. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Lagarde. Now we have a roll call.
Mr. Michael Lagarde.
Here.
Mr. Gregory Harding.
Here.
Mr. Matthew Ford.
Here.
Mrs. Debbie Benoit.
Here.
Mrs. Stacy Solé. Here. Mr. Clyde Hamner.
Here.
Mr. Roger Dale DeHart.
Here.
Dr. Maybelle Trahan.
Here.
And Mr. Dane Voisin.
Here.
Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Brunet. Item number 5, approval of minutes of school board meeting December 7, 2021, and special board meeting on December 14, 2021.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Hamner,
Second.
second by Dr. Trahan. Anyone else would like to discuss that issue? Mr. Hamner,
No, sir.
Dr. Trahan,
No, sir.
any board member? Are there any objections? Hearing none, so ordered. Item number 6, election of board officers. At this particular time, I would entertain motions to nominees for president. Ms. Benoit?
Mr. Harding, I'd like to nominate you again for this year's president. And just a commentary on that, we have one of the biggest tasks of this board before us this year, electing a new superintendent, and you have started the process in your previous year, and I feel like it's important for you to continue and to complete that task this year.
Thank you.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hamner.
How about a unanimous second?
Unanimous second been asked for?
Nope. Okay.
Are there any objections? 2 objections?
Yes.
Note that Mr. DeHart and Mr. Ford object.
I have a nomination also, though.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize then. Let's back up then. Nominate then.
I make a motion, I'd like to nominate Mr. Roger Dale DeHart as board president for the calendar year of 2022.
You second? Okay, second by Mr. DeHart. All right, anyone else would like to discuss that nomination? Okay, Mr. Ford?
Sure. I can give you the 2-minute speech, or I can give you the 20-minute speech, but since the agenda looks to be pretty packed and we got a lot of smiling faces in here, beautiful faces, let's try to keep them smiling for a moment. I think Mr. DeHart brings to the table a lot of experience. He has been board president before, and quite frankly, I don't like the direction the board has gone in the last 3 years. And I know I would never get nominated, and I don't see anyone else on the board that I would like to be president, so that's why I nominated Mr. Roger Dale DeHart.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Mr. DeHart?
Yes, sir. I'm not just speaking just because I served president many times. I was elected president of this board 8 times. And I served to the fullest of my ability all 8 times. I had the privilege of doing the process, not as president every time, but with 4 superintendents. So I think I have the experience, the knowledge, been through many hurricanes and been through many situations. So far, I've handled the situation professionally and respectively, and always worked with the entire board and kept the board informed. And I think I could still serve in that capacity. Thank you.
Okay, can we get a motion to close the nomination?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Hamner, second by Ms. Benoit. Anyone else would like to discuss that issue? Mr. Hamner? Ms. Benoit?
No, sir.
Any board member? Of that injection here, none so ordered. Okay, as of right now, we have 2 candidates that's running for president. Mine came first, and also we have Mr. DeHart. So at this particular time, if you choose, we can go roll call vote. And what we'll do is that if you're in favor of selecting Mr. Roger DeHart, you press yes. And if you oppose Mr. DeHart as being president, you press no. Okay, roll call vote, please.
All votes are in. You have 2 yeas. Mr. DeHart and Mr. Ford. For clarification, Mr. Harding, you said you were nominated first,
Yes.
okay?
Okay, now we'll vote on my nomination. All right, if you're voting yes, will be yes for president, and a no vote would be no for president.
Mr. Ford?
I'm not really understanding the vote, so I'm just not going to vote on this one.
All votes, with the exception of Mr. Ford, I have 1 nay, Mr. DeHart.
Okay, that's ordered. Thank you, board member. Yeah,
Congratulations.
I just want to get a couple of things straight with the audience. What just happened is a democratic way. I don't hold anything against Mr. Ford, and I don't hold anything Mr. DeHart. I never have and never will be. That's just a process. That's one thing about living in the United States. You have a right to vote, majority win, and the majority win. So I'm elected again as president for the 2022 year. A couple of things that I would like to address briefly. I guess we all know that we have a lot of issues that we're going to be dealing with, like Ms. Benoit stated earlier. One is COVID, that's on the rise again. We don't know as a board, we don't know as a district. We might have to put some measures in. We pray to cross our fingers that this don't happen. We just don't know. We just don't know what's going on with this situation. So we got to kind of like play it by ear. Another thing is that we got to deal with this year's redistricting. All board members up here every 10 years are going to be redistricted. That's another challenge in itself that we're going to have to actually deal with. Well, also tonight, we'll be selecting 1 or 2 project managers to start the task of rebuilding our schools. And more than likely, that process will probably be still going on, long gone after some of us are no longer here. So that's a very, very, very important issue that we need to be concerned with. And I think each and every one of us up here takes that very seriously, because basically that's going to be our future, rebuilding these schools. Number 4 is the superintendent selection process. That's the only person that we as a school board representative or member can actually hire and fire. That person will lead or be the spokesperson for this district. We take that seriously. We take that to heart, because that person basically we're going to empower him to entrust our kids' lives in his hands. He's going to be the leader. He's going to be the spokesperson. Mr. Martin is going to be retiring in June. It's gonna be a new beginning, but we got challenges ahead of us. I don't want everybody to think that this is gonna be a smooth sailing. We got some challenges. But I think this board, with the experience that they have, basically, we're gonna accept those challenges, and we're gonna hit them head on. Last and least is our election. This is election year. Some of us may decide not to run. By this time next year, this board might look a lot different than what it looks right now. A couple of board members have expressed that they might not run. And then it's very possible some of us might not get reelected. That's just the American process. That's just the way it goes. So as you can see that we have a jam-packed year. A jam-packed year. This is not a normal year. This is a jam-packed year that we have all these issues that we have to deal with. And this is only the tip of the iceberg. We have many other issues that we also have to deal with also too. These are just on the main topic ones that we have to deal with. So I ask that the public and the board, we work together. We might not always agree on the direction that we're going in or how we're going to get there, but I think everybody have in the bottom of their heart, they have what is best for the kids of this district. And like I said, if I can help anybody out along the way, I'm going to continue on doing that. Again, I thank the board for giving me this opportunity to lead us through these tough hurdles, and hopefully that we will accomplish some of these goals that we need to accomplish. Thank you, man. Item 6.2, Vice President. Yes, sir.
I would like to nominate Dr. Maybelle Trahan as the Vice President to the board.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Varzan, second by Ms. Benoit, that Dr. Trahan be reelected again to Vice President. Are there any comments in the audience? Mr. Varzan.
Yes, sir. Dr. Trahan has proven that she's very effective, very caring, and very hardworking, so I think she deserves that position.
Okay. Ms. Benoit.
I agree, and I support her fully for this position again this year.
Okay, any comments from the board members? Are there any objections?
I object.
Okay, note that Mr. DeHart and Mr. Matt Ford object. Okay, Doc, congratulations again.
Thank
You have
you.
anything you need to tell? I'm sorry.
You have to close the...
Oh, I'm sorry, no nomination. I apologize again.
I have a nomination for Vice President. I'd like to nominate Mr. Michael Lagarde to be Vice President of the board. I know he's expressed interest in the past in doing that. I know there's a lot of backdoor deals going on over here, which I really don't like, care for, and I will expose soon enough. But I'd like to nominate Mike Lagarde if he would accept my nomination. If not, that's fine, we'll move on.
I truly thank you, Matt, but I'm going to decline, and I do agree with what you said. You know, a lot of backdoor going on, good old boy stuff, but I decline, but I appreciate the nomination.
Roger that.
But I think Doc is doing a good job, and she should continue on, you know, and I think the public and board have confidence in her. But thank you anyway.
Any other comments? Any other objections? Hearing none, so ordered. Doc?
Thank you so much. I just want to thank everyone for their support, and thank the public for their support as well, because I hear a lot from them as well. I've enjoyed this last year. It was a big learning experience for me, because this is my first year on the board. And I have been the chair of the Education Committee for a couple of years, and this last year as Vice President. Mr. Harding has been a rock that has helped me along and explained different things to me along the way, and I've learned a lot since this time last year. I'm looking forward to being his helper in all of this we have to face this year. The foremost thing in my mind, of course, is the devastation in my district, which is very important to my heart, to get my kids back home on the bayou. and we're working on that. But I'm looking forward to working at finding us the best superintendent we can find, we can find that has the kids at his heart or her heart. It could be a lady, couldn't it? And the different things that we have to work on. So I'm really looking forward to having a great, even though it'll be challenging, I expect it to be a good year.
Thank you, Doc. Okay, moving along, item number 7, citizen concern. 7A, Ms. Glenda Fungi, election of new superintendent for Terrebonne Parish. Yes, ma'am. Could you state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes, ma'am.
Linda Fungi, and it's Shelley Court, home Louisiana. I have the suggestions for requirements for a new superintendent for Terrebonne Parish, and I have some must-haves. Evidence in their career that they have kept the needs of the children and the communities they live in first in mind during any decision-making process. To show what they have done in previous job positions that have advanced and improved the learning of the children and the community that they have served. How long did they service in this position? Did they accomplish their goals? And where do they see themselves in 5 years? They must have a working knowledge of being a good school-level administrator. Must have taught in the classroom and developed curriculum, utilize instructional strategies, and be a lifelong learner. As a superintendent, would they teach a class if needed? Be the educator they would expect to see in front of the students in Terrebonne Parish. Be kind and compassionate and thoughtful. The golden rules are a good guide. Make decisions based on input from the people who have skin in this game, and that would be the parents who are responsible for what is taught to their children in the school setting. Follow the Terrebonne Parish School District Policy Handbook. Find solutions to retain great teachers and great staff, from cooks, janitors, office personnel, and bus drivers. All the leaders that have everyday contact with and impact the lives of the students. These should be our very best. Update buildings and improve all learning facilities for the better working and learning environments for students, teachers, and all staff employees. All students have a right and should feel safe and welcomed in their learning environment, with highly qualified teachers who faithfully pour into the students regardless of economic status. To keep the environment safe for the innocent, and gender issues, bullying, disrespect for authority, and guns on campus. Our students, our schools have to be protected. Making sure that everyone's constitutional rights are safely guarded. Implement the continuous study of the U.S. Constitution from first grade to graduation, and making a priority for our students to gain the knowledge and understanding to implement their God-given rights under the founding laws and freedoms that were not so easily acquired for every citizen and student. No CRT in any form in Terrebonne Parish. Teach the students how to find their voice, their potential, their gifts, their talents, using the power of the pen to express their ideas, to rise up in controversy and stop others from making them think they are victims. Teaching the fundamentals of self-respect, putting others above themselves, conflict resolution, peer pressure, and also community service with time well served. These are just a few thoughts. But let us shoot past the highest expectations in installing our next superintendent for Terrebonne Parish. Our students, these priceless, precious treasures, who God is holding all of us accountable for, should have nothing but the best. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Before I go any further, I would like to recognize Council Member, well, actually my brother, but Council Member Carl Harding, who's sitting in the back right over there. Item 7B, Ms. Cheryl Champagne, Progressive Curriculum, $200 million for rebuilding and superintendent replacement process.
Hello, I'm Sherry Champagne, and I live on Elmer Street here in Houma. And so first, I would like to address the, well, let's go with the curriculum. I'm sure all of you here are aware that you have embraced the progressive curriculum. I assume you all know that you voted for that, you had that. So our question to all of you is, do you know what a progressive curriculum looks like? Do you know what they're teaching, what that material is in the classrooms, in the libraries that has been introduced? Collectively, are you all aware of what a progressive education is? Does everyone here know what that is? What you're teaching in the classroom?
Ma'am, at this particular time, you can make a statement, but you can't ask questions to the board.
Yes or no would be good.
No, ma'am.
Okay, that's not going to work.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a curriculum in our schools that we have teachers coming forth right now with the material in the new material in which it is introduced into our schools. Each and every one of you are responsible for that material that is now being introduced into these schools. These teachers that are bringing this material forward, you guys approve this material. I'm not sure if you're aware of where the material comes from, what leftist group it comes from, or what progressive group it comes from. But those are questions we all want answered. Every single parent that pays taxes in this parish, if we can come to you each individually, we would. But right now, we want those questions answered. A progressive curriculum teaches things to children that should not be taught in our schools, ever. We should not be closing our schools down. And if this COVID comes back again and we all assume that because the parents adjusted to mask wearing in our schools once before, that it will happen again, we will not comply. Our children will not go back to school. We will not allow the children to go back to school with masks on their face without a fight. We will be at this building, we will be at the schools, we will have the attorneys involved that are involved now, because at this point in time, if we assume that the parents will lay down and allow our children to be masked again at school, it will not happen. So we're not going to allow it, and we wanted you guys to understand that if that is where we're going to go with this new COVID restrictions and mandates, we are not going to stand and allow it to happen. So as long as you're aware of that, I will call each and every one of you to meet with you, and each and every one of you, I would like to have your explanation to me what this material is coming from these teachers, okay? So if you can all be prepared to meet with me, I would respect that, and including with Mr. Martin and Mr. Harding, I would like to speak with both of you as well. On this agenda, we will move on to the money that's coming in to the parish, the $200 million, or what is that? Do we have 3 minutes, or am I addressing all of these topics?
Ma'am, your 3 minutes have expired. If anybody wanted to extend it,
Motion to extend.
motion by Mr. Dehart, second by Mr. Ford. Anyone else would like to discuss that motion? Mr. Dehart?
Extended 3
Ford?
more minutes.
Are there any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Okay, so we'll just, the money that's coming in, whether it's $200 million or whether it be $100 million, we get this much money, we send this to entire countries to rebuild. So my request is, first of all, that we have an oversight committee, not just whomever is in finance department, that will oversee all expenditures. All money's going out, all invoices coming in. We need an oversight committee to address the 200 or whatever, how much the money is that comes in for these expenditures and rebuilding. The project manager, obviously, will get an estimate on what that's going to cost, but collectively, we would like to see all expenditures, all things that go out, all invoices that come in, the contracts in which they are given to, and the expenditures that are made with this particular money. I have asked for I am filing also, I have to speak with Mr. Martin this week to get the copies of all expenditures for the $40 million that came in through COVID funds, and also copies of whatever information I can get that will respond to what money we got for the restrictions that were put in place in our schools. So I would like to have that information as well, and I'm going to ask for that throughout the public records requests, and all copies of expenditures, checks made out, expenditures going out for everyone involved. And I was informed that it's 25 cents a copy, which is not a problem. I plan on getting all copies. And so to close out, the teachers that are coming forward with the material that are in our schools, I think you all should heed that the material that was approved, and on our website, we have very, very disturbing information that when you link it to the other links that are on there, It is linked to some of the most progressive people in this country, and that is on our website. So we want to check that. And we also want to make sure that this progressive material that I'm assuming that Mr. Martin approved, and Mr. Harding, you approved it as well, we need to find out if you understand what that means in the curriculum, okay? And I'm sure that you would like to understand if you don't, if children are learning about homosexuality in kindergarten. I have a teacher right now that is consulting with an attorney that has the material in the school system that is presentable to children. And so you should all know, before I finish up, that anyone that approves this material for children can be held accountable through the legal system. So we need to make sure that all of our representatives are aware of what this curriculum is, okay? You may not be aware, but we need to make sure we are aware because this is taxpayers on the hook for these lawsuits, okay? So I really thank you all for taking the time to listen. And I really do want you all to be aware of what's going on, okay? And that's why I will be here regularly, on a regular basis, every meeting to speak to you. And if the time comes that I run for something in this parish, whether it be for Mr. Martin's position or one of these positions or something else, I hope that every single one of you are just have one thing, the children. Just remember that they're the most important. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, I'd like to thank Ms. Fungi and also Ms. Champagne for their comments.
Mr. Harding.
Whether you agree with them or disagree with the comments, they have the right to come before the school board and speak their piece. Mr. DeHart.
I'm not trying to be debatable, and I know that's not the proper thing to do, Mr. Harding, but I would like to ask for the superintendent to make a comment on, do he have any knowledge, anything in our schools that we are not supposed to have? That's the only question I have. If he wants to answer it.
No.
I'd like for all of us to
I just did. No.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Okay, Mr. Ford.
I'm not going to talk about that. I really just wanted to thank Ms. Fungi for coming up and speaking. You're a breath of fresh air when it comes to the outside perspective. I can tell that you probably were an educator, or you may still be an educator. You have a stage presence, or if you weren't an educator, maybe you should have been, but I agreed wholeheartedly with what you said about our next superintendent. I keep a copy of this not only at my desk, but I keep 2 copies in my bag that I carry with me everywhere I go, because I am a constitutionalist and I do believe in the Constitution. I do believe that we should be focusing a lot more on that, because the less we teach it, the more we lose. And Ms. Champagne and I have had several discussions in the past, and I agree with you, a progressive style curriculum is not what we need here in South Louisiana, especially not in Terrebonne Parish. I would like to see some more proof of that, though, so I'm looking forward to you citing those things, because as a math teacher, my exposure to the curriculum was very limited, although there are certain people, including the president of LSU, who seems to think math is somehow biased or even racist, for that matter. So I am interested in seeing what you have to prevent.
The attorney did say that you would be one of the folks that would not mind getting that.
Point of order.
Well, thank you.
Oh, you good, Mr. Ford?
Yep.
Okay, any other comments? Any other comments? Okay, item number 8, announcements. 10/3/31, advertising for new superintendent. 1/11, special school board meeting. Receive comments for public relative to the superintendent search process. That will be at 6 o'clock. 11/17, Dr. Martin Luther King holiday. Oh, not 11, I'm sorry, 1/17, Dr. Martin Luther King holiday. 1/18, 4:30, executive committee. 5 o'clock, educated technology and policy committee. Building food service traffic committee. Finance and Southern Section 16 land committee. Special school board meeting immediately following the committee meeting. Mr. Martin, I think you said that you was going to explain to what that special meeting was
Yes,
about.
thank you, Mr. President. That special school board meeting will be singularly and solely to select the contractor who will be installing the modular portable temporary campuses for South Terrebonne and Ellender, rather than wait for the February meeting and delay it even longer. This is the fastest we can get. We would even do it sooner, but they're still out for bid. But we're getting the bids in, and we want to bring it to the board as expeditious as possible.
Thank you.
Very good. Any comments? Ms. Benoit?
Yeah, not on that, but I have a question rather on the advertisement for the superintendent. Is that going to be posted on our website so that the public can look at
It
the?
already is.
I think she says already is.
It is on the website
is.
right now?
It's
Okay, and all the
posted.
qualifications needed and, okay, perfect, thank you.
It's on numerous places.
Okay.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah. Any other comments? Okay. All right. 201, regular school board meeting. Item number 9, superintendent agenda.
The first agenda item there, Mr. President, is not necessary since you are returning. Second recommendation is that the board adopt a resolution authorizing and approving the form and execution of the loan and assignment agreement, the trust indenture, the bond purchase agreement, and/or bond placement agreement, and other certificates, documents, or instruments in connections with the insurance and sale of delivery of financing the amount not to exceed $105 million through the Louisiana Local Government Environmental Facilities and Community Development Authority, and further authorize the board president and superintendent to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto.
So moved.
Is Mr. Ford? Oh, moved by Mr. DeHart.
Second.
Second by Dr. Trahan. Anyone in the audience like to discuss the recommendation? Mr. DeHart?
No, sir.
Dr. Trahan?
No, sir.
Roll call.
Any board members have any concerns? Okay, at this particular time, we need a roll call vote on the recommendation. A yes vote is in favor of it, and no vote is against it.
All votes are in, no objections, motion carries.
Thank you.
Next recommendation, the board approve the following resolution recognizing January 2022 as Local School Board Member Recognition Month in the state of Louisiana. The resolution is, well, before I do that, I guess we should pass the recommendation, Mr. Harding.
Yeah, okay.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Vizan, second by Ms. Benoit. Anyone else would like to discuss that issue? Mr. Vizan?
No, sir.
Ms. Benoit? Any board member? Interjection? So ordered.
Whereas the mission of public schools is to meet the diverse educational needs to all children and empower them to become competent, productive contributors to a democratic society and an ever-changing world. Whereas local school board members are committed to children and believe that all children can be successful learners and that the best education is tailored to the individual needs of the child. Whereas local school board members work closely with parents, educational professionals, and other community members to create the educational vision we want for our students. Whereas local school board members are responsible for ensuring a structure that provides a solid foundation to our school system, and whereas local school board members are strong advocates for the public education and are responsible for communicating the needs of the school district to the public and the public's expectations to the district, now therefore be it resolved that the Terrebonne Parish School Board hereby declares the month of January 2022 as School Board Member Recognition Month and encourages local school districts and community leaders to appropriately recognize our state's dedicated board members, and be it finally resolved that copies of this resolution be forwarded to all media contacts in Terrebonne Parish Public Schools and office buildings. Next resolution is approval of a resolution recognizing February 2022 as African American History Month. The recommendation is that the board approve the following resolution recognizing February 2022 as the African American History Month in Terrebonne Parish Schools.
So moved.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Hamlin, second by Mr. Lagarde. Anyone else like to discuss that recommendation? Mr. Hamlin?
No, sir.
Mr. Lagarde? Any board member? Are there any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Whereas the month of February is traditionally observed as the African American History Month, whereas the observance of a special period to recognize the achievements and contributions by African Americans dates back to February 1926. And whereas the observance period is ultimately the recognition of America's struggle to become a more perfect union. Therefore, be it resolved that the Terrebonne Parish School Board recognizes February 2022 as African American History Month in Terrebonne Parish Public Schools and encourages administrators, teachers, and students to observe this month with appropriate activities and programs that raise awareness and appreciation of American history, African American history, and be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be forwarded to all Terrebonne Parish schools and office buildings. Next is a recommendation that the board approve the following proclamation recognizing February 7th through 11th, 2022 as National School Counseling Week in Terrebonne Parish Schools.
Second. Moved by Ms. Soley, second by Mr. Hamler. Any more than I would like to discuss the recommendation? Ms. Soley, Mr. Hamler?
Yes, sir.
Any board member? Or that injection? Hearing none, so ordered.
Where school counselors are employed in private and public schools to help students reach their full potential, whereas school counselors are actively committed to helping students explore their abilities, strengths, interests, and talents as these traits relate to career awareness and development, where school counselors help parents focus on ways the educational, personal, and social growth of their children, whereas the school counselors work with teachers and other educators to help students explore their potential and set realistic goals for themselves, whereas school counselors seek to identify and utilize community resources that can enhance and complement comprehensive school counseling programs and help students become productive members of society, and whereas comprehensive developmental school counseling programs are considered an integral part of the educational process that enables all students to achieve success in schools. Now therefore be it resolved that the Terrebonne Parish School Board recognizes February 7th through 11th, 2022 as National School Counseling Week in Terrebonne Parish Schools, and be further resolved that copies of this proclamation be forwarded to all parish public school buildings and office buildings. The next agenda item, board members, for your information, personnel actions for the period of November through December 10th. That's list of instructional and non-instructional support personnel has been provided for your information. The next agenda item is a recommendation that the board approve a family and medical leave in accordance with policy file F11.4A for Shakendra Short, school bus operator in the Transportation Department beginning January 10th through January 31st for medical.
Moved by Mr. Vizan. Second by Ms. Soley. Anyone who would like to discuss the recommendation? Mr. Vizan? Ms. Soley? Any board member? Are there any objection? Hearing none, so ordered.
The next recommendation is that the board approve a family and medical leave in accordance with policy file F11.4A for Lauren Cunningham, teacher at Lisa Park School, beginning January 10th through April 8th for medical.
So moved. Moved by Ms. Soley, second by Mr. Hamler. Anyone else like to discuss the recommendation? Ms. Soley, Mr. Hamler, any board member? Of that objection, hearing none, so ordered.
The next recommendation, the board approve of leave of absence without pay in accordance with policy file F11.10 for Lloyd Wallace, school bus operator in the Transportation Department beginning December 6, 2021 through December 5th, 2022 for personal.
So moved. Moved by Mr. Hamlin.
Second.
Second by Dr. Trahan. Anyone else like to discuss the recommendation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hamlin?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Trahan?
No, sir.
Any board member? Are there any objections? Hearing none, so ordered.
The next recommendation, the board approve a leave of absence without pay in accordance with policy file F11.10 for Ron Cox, school bus operator in the Transportation Department beginning December 13th, 2021 through December 12th, 2022 for personal.
Moved by Mr. Vizan. Second by Ms. Soley. Anyone else like to discuss this recommendation? Mr. Vizan? Ms. Soley? Any board member? Are there any objections? Hearing none, so ordered.
Concludes my agenda, Mr. President. Turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Ladies and gentlemen, item number 10 is listed under me, individual school board member. 10A, Mr. Gregory Harding, board president, matter pertaining to selection of the project manager. Everybody have a tally sheet here that was given to you, and also we have the project manager server recommendation that the board accept proposal meeting all specification on the project manager service RFP from blank and blank beginning January 5th, 2022 for a period of 2 years with option to extend the 1-year implement at the same price, terms, and condition, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. At this particular time, I will entertain whatever the board wishes to decide to do.
I just have a quick question about the general motion. Should we, I know it is going to be subject to fee negotiations, but do we need to put that in the motion?
Yes, sir, I think that would be wise.
Thank you.
So you basically, what you're saying, you want to put the,
Just
okay.
subject to fee negotiations.
Okay, anybody have any problem with that being added to the motion? Okay, all right. Entertained, what's the wish of the board?
I'll start.
Okay.
That the board approve the proposals meeting with all specifications on the project managers, RFP, from the Volkert firm and from the Leret firm, beginning January 5th, 22, for a period of 2 years, of options of entertaining 1-year increments at the same prices, terms, and conditions, subject to negotiation, and authorize the board president to sign all the necessary documents pertaining thereto.
Point of order, sir.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask the maker of the motion to correct instead of Leret, this Merlin group. That's
I
what's on our
don't know, I
paper.
can't hear you. What you say, Mr. Deal? I'm sorry.
I'd like the maker of the motion to name the correct title from the Merlin Group instead of
Merlin
Mr.
Group,
Leret.
thank you.
That's the way it's on the form.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Do I have a second? Okay, second by Mr. Varzan. All right, anyone else like to discuss that, that motion? Okay, the maker,
No, sir.
Mr. Varzan? Any, comments from any board members? Matt?
I know that, let me turn my mic on so everyone can hear me. I know we interviewed those 7 companies, and although the Merlin Group was very impressive, and we've been pleased with the work they've done in the past, at least for myself, speaking for myself, I thought when I did my scoring, there was another company, the Hammerman Company, that was actually higher scoring than the Merlin Group. So I would like to make an alternative motion to include Volkert and the Hammerman Group in the distribution of the contracts.
So you're making a substitute motion?
Substitute motion, yes, sir.
Okay, did I get a second?
I second it.
Okay. Okay, anyone else would like to discuss that substitute motion? Okay, Mr. Ford?
Yeah, so I look forward to working with Mr. Merlin, Leret, and his group, but my concern is that the group that he assembled was strictly for this project and the potential to gain these contracts, which that's fine, but I fear that although he may be a great architect and he's supervised a lot of our buildings and the erection thereof, I think that this may be a little kind of over their head from what they've shown us. Volkert definitely had my #1 vote, so there's no discussion there, but the Hammerman Group has also, they've handled some fairly large projects, and they may not be from Homa, and the gentleman is actually from this area and he has family here, but I think if we're serving our constituency in the best manner we can, and we're preparing for these buildings that we're going to be taking on, and the just vastness of this overall project, I think we'd be better served by getting Volkert as our 1 and Hammerman as our 2, and then of course that doesn't alleviate the Merlin Group from doing work for us. They would still probably secure some of the contracts for those guys, but when we're talking about the contract management and the management of these projects, I think the 2 that I mentioned, Volkert and the Hammerman Group, are heads and shoulders above the rest.
Okay. Mr. Lagarde?
Yes, I agree with Matt. Also, and what would be a great thing, we just read about
Put your mic on. Yeah.
it matters and it doesn't matter, but the Hammerman Group is owned and led by African American, and that would be so great to have the Hammerman Group with VOCA and African American a month. I think both groups are top notch, but I think this is the first time this parish would have a contract with an African American as my history of knowing this parish. And I think that would be, that would be superior for that. And we are going into February African American Month. I think that would set precedent and let them see that we are moving forward. And both groups, all the groups are superior. I like the Merlin group, but I do agree with Mr. Ford that VOCA, superior, great group of guys, and Mr. Hamilton group was superior. I like that, and I think this board go with that, would take a stain and make a stain that look, and a lot of kids and people would look up to both groups, but I think this could be a little special since we're coming into African American Month, I think that really could be special. Now, not to say it was just because his group consists of many races, and it is not a racial thing, because his wife is white, and, so it's not a racial thing, but I just love the work, so I think that would be great. And like Mr. Ford said, the VOCA group, superior, and I think they would be open and willing and have a good working relationship. Both groups, I think, would mash together out of everybody. I think both of those two groups would work together and give us the best. And like Mr. Ford also say, they will hire different people, and Merlin is an excellent architect or engineer, and I think they could employ his service.
Okay.
But that's up to them.
Okay, Mr. DeHart.
Well, I can't support the motion on the floor because we had a due process where each one of us had the opportunity to score. And regardless of how my candidates came out on my score sheet and how the point system was done by staff, that I can deny that process and change it after it's already been in place and approved by the board. I'm talking about the process. Now, the reason I'm saying those comments is that we had all 9 of our surveys sent to staff, and they graded each one of our first, second, and thirds, and then that's how they came up with different points on that. And by what I'm looking at this spreadsheet, regardless of how my outcome was or who I chose first, second, and third, may not appear in this order. So am I going to make another motion? We might have 9 different motions up here because I don't know, and I'm not criticizing anybody else's vote, and it's for no reason other than that's why we have 9 of us to evaluate the interview process, the information we got, and to score it. And I just think right now, if we sidetrack what we started out in the process, I believe we're violating our own process that we had agreed to and the superintendent staff carried out and presented to us factual, because until this afternoon, I didn't know who was first, second, or third. And I can say that, no matter how each one of you scored, I don't know if anybody had it 1, 2, 3 like this here, and I'm not saying it's not possible. That's why we each had a chance to vote. Equal vote, and the things are there. So to say that, we should change the order, I'm seeing the 2 recommendations according to the motion is the top 2 that achieve those points. So I'm sticking with that, and it's not about who it is, and it's not about, I think all the firms that we interviewed are qualified to do this project for us. But we scored what we thought we saw in all of these packets, and I still have mine here if anybody from the public wants to see it. And I didn't make any notes, but I put checks and crosses of things of concern that I had. I'm not going to hide from nobody. It's just that I did what I thought was fair for the school system, not fair for Roger D. Hart as a board member not against any other reason. It's just that I think we did the process, and I think we should stick with the process the way it was supposed to be carried out, and the original motion does say that, so I'm going to vote against the substitute motion.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Ford.
Just to kind of rebuttal what Mr. Dehart said, yes, we did have a process that was, if you'll excuse me, a bit elementary. It had no statistical value in it. There was no rubric set to evaluate these companies. We just were given a score sheet and said, give us a value from 0 to 20 for these 5 attributes or 6 attributes, and no, 5 attributes, and give us a score from 0 to 25 for the 6th attribute. There was no rubric, like I said, so my scoring was probably different than everyone else's here. And, you know, if we're trying to stay consistent, in particular in a situation where we're dealing with education, if you will, I'll use this analogy. Let's say I'm teaching at the high school where I was teaching at, myself and 3 other Algebra 1 teachers. We were all required to give the same tests. Those tests were given on the same platform with the same questions, roughly around the same time. However, the difference was when it came to grading those tests. There was no consistency with the grading. There was discrepancies on this student, that student, and I graded differently, at least on the constructive response, than the other teachers did. So there was never a real consistent method of evaluation. And with that, lost the validity of that actual letter grade that was given. So with regards to the process, yes, we all did it. I went along with it because I didn't want to rock the boat, but my scoring was a lot different. Now, a better, more true representation would have been if we were to rank all 7 of them in each of the 6 categories. Whether the highest number be the top rank or the lowest number, we could have used that aggregate data to actually define who had the lowest being the best or the highest score being the worst, whatever the case may have been. Having said that, we also brought these companies here to present to us. So although they had their information in their pamphlets that we received, I also based my observation on my gut instinct. How they presented themselves. What did they bring to the table? How excited were they to possibly do work for the Terrebonne Parish School District? The first person we saw blew everybody out the water. Mr. Oni is a very dynamic speaker. He's articulate. He's a good-looking man. His company does business with a lot of community members, and he does all these different things. And when I went back to look, to check if his credentials were in line, they were in line. The other company that stood out was Volkert. This wasn't the first time we met them, but this was the first time we discussed matters like this. He answered all the questions. He had the information we needed. His presentation was thorough. He was articulate. He made me confident that we could actually use this company and benefit from it. Now, that's not to say the other companies weren't, but those are the 2 that stood out. So we have to ask ourselves, were we going basically solely on what was in their pamphlets, or was it a combination of their pamphlets and their presentations? So when I scored according to the pamphlet or the brochure, whatever they brought, and the presentation. It means a lot when you bring someone from your company to come up and present. Some of the other companies you could tell was the first time they ever did something like this, and that made me concerned. So that's where I stand. I think the process was effective, but it did leave a lot as far as in the area of subjectation for what do we think and being able to trust our gut instinct about the presenters. That's why I made this motion.
Any other comment? Okay, I'm going to make a comment, and like I said, try to push back on a little bit what Mr. Dehart stated about the process. I do not want the public to get the misconcept that we're not doing this by the book. There was no guidelines here. Matter of fact, this board tonight don't even have to pick the top 3. We can go back and choose the 7th company, the 6th company, or the 5th company, or the 4th company. It's to our discretion. It's to our discretion who we choose. The pamphlet that was handed to us was very subjective. If for those of you who don't understand what that means, we all love football. We watch football all the time. 2 officials look at the same penalty. One throw the flag, one don't throw the flag. That's subjective. That's subjective. So basically, the numbers that we have here is not a true indication. It's not a true indication. It's to how we each saw each individual. The only way that you're going to find out exactly who is the top 2 candidates is by voting on it. It's by voting it up or voting it down. That's the only way. So I just don't want the public to think that we're not following the process. If the process was if the process was like Mr. DeHart stated, we wouldn't have brought 3 candidates. We would have brought just 2 or 1 candidate. And then the board would have to decide whether they want 2 or 3. So let's not get things twisted. Let's not get it confused. Let's not get that confused. I just don't want the public to understand that. We're not trying to confuse you. But that's the process. There was a process that we followed, and this is the process that we have now. And I stated it earlier with my election. Didn't have anything against Mr. Ford. Wasn't mad at Mr. DeHart. They have a right to vote the way they want to vote. Each one of us have a right to vote the way we want to vote. It just so happened that 5 votes is going to win the day. That's the process. That's the American way. So after I'm finished saying that, do anybody else have any other comments they need to make? All right, could you read the substitute motion? Sure. And so we can vote. We're going to do a roll call vote.
It's going to be that the board accept the proposals meeting all specifications on the Project Management Services RFP from Volkert, Inc. and the Hammerman and Gaynor LLC beginning January 5th, 2022 for a period of 2 years with options to extend in 1-year increments at the same prices, terms, and conditions, subject to negotiations, and further authorize the board president to sign all necessary documents pertaining thereto. That's the substitute motion.
Okay, everybody understand that? Okay, ask for a roll call vote.
Yes,
Yes, you're going with this motion.
Okay.
All votes are in. The 5 yeas for the substitute motion are Mr. Hamner, Mr. Harding, Mrs. Benoit, Mr. Ford, and Mr. Lagarde. The vote is 5-4.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. So moved.